Hi there, welcome along to another workout for you to row along to. It's week 3, session 4 of the 500 meter training plan, and today is mostly a bottom tier workout. What do I mean? Well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do 30 seconds at your 500 meter pace and stroke rate, but then you're going to go straight into 19.5 minutes at 18 strokes a minute and 2K plus 20 to 22. Okay, so you get what I mean? So we're going to have a real spicy start to just remind us of the pace for our 500 meter test, but then we're going to slide nicely into that bottom tier. Now, if you're doing this from a heart rate point of view rather than the 2K pace, then you have two options. You can either use the Maffetone system, which is 180 minus your age, and that gives you the maximum heart rate that you do not want to go over. Or alternatively, you could pick between 65 and 75% of your maximum heart rate on the rowing machine and just make sure to keep it there. Now for me, both of them are 135, so I just pick either. So, as being, we're going to start off with that 30-second intense start. We're going to go for a 6-minute warm-up today, okay? It'll make sense. But it's basically what we normally do, but I just want to just make sure you're nice and warm, ready for it. So, as always, let's please set up our machine, do the drag factor first. If you don't know about drag factor, please check out the video I have on the YouTube channel. Next up, look at your monitor. Make sure it's set to eye height so you don't have to look up and down, and you don't have to look down. And finally, make sure that your foot straps cover the bottom lace in your shoes, or if you're in socks like me, you can bend comfortably forward at the front, or bend at your feet, not bend. You get what I mean. I've said it enough, you should really know what I mean. Okay, so we're going to do this warm-up starting off as always at 18 strokes per minute, and your pace is going to be round about 2K plus 24, but let's not worry too much about pace for the first minute of this warm-up. So let's go in 3, 2, 1, go. So here we go, just get your body moving. Who knows whether you're cold, whether your muscles are stiff, whether you've been out for a run first and you need to remind your body that it's about to do some rowing, or whether you're in a freezing cold studio and just want to warm up, quite frankly. I've had the heater on for ages and it's like a drop in the ocean. So just make sure you're moving. You just want to get your muscles active, heart rate slightly going up here, just to make sure you're starting to get nice and limber. As we get towards the end of this first minute, you should really, hopefully, start to feel your body easing off, like breaking through the top of a creme brulee, just nice and you're gonna get in there. How posh am I with my creme brulee, eh? Right, so now let's start thinking a little bit about technique. Get that back swing going from 1 o'clock position at the front to an 11 o'clock position at the back with a good posture. Sitting on your sit bones as you come into the front. And making sure not to tuck your hips under you when you get to the back. So you're always just rocking through your hips back and forwards. And then make sure to drive off with your legs, pushing from the front. Okay, so 2 more strokes. We're going to go up to 20 strokes a minute. So here we go. And let's try and aim pace-wise around about 2K plus 18. So for me, my 2K average time is 1:45 right now, so I'm aiming for 2:03 for my pace right now. And just remember, it's all coming from your legs. Each time we increase the stroke rate, just push a little harder with your legs to go a little bit faster on your drive speed, recover a little bit faster, and that increases your stroke rate and makes you go faster. Okay, 3 more strokes. We're going to go up to 22 strokes a minute. Here we go. This is a fantastic session to do on its own, to be honest, just to get the control of slowly going up through the stroke rates. I know you can follow along with me on the video, or if it's the podcast, the sound of me taking each stroke. But hopefully what's developing is your own control over knowing how much you have to push with the legs to increase your stroke rate. Okay, so next up we're going to go to 24 strokes a minute. One more stroke here and then let's go 24 strokes a minute and 2k plus 12. Don't worry, once we get to the end of this, we're going to go back down to 18 again and paddle home for the last 1 minute. So just get a good solid push with your legs. Keep that forward lean as you drive out from the front of the machine. Arms nice and straight as you push. Let the power flow up through your body and into the machine. All right, 3, 2, 1. There we go, and back to 18s. You should be hopefully quite nice and warm. Out of breath a little bit if you were hitting the paces I was saying. And even if you went just a little bit faster than I was saying, that's fine. By the end just then I was at 2k plus 10. Now, the reason I'm not going for the full race warm-up to prepare for that 30-second sprint is that actually it's not about the performance you get from that 30-second sprint, it's just about being up at pace. Last stroke. So even if you're not quite able to get to the 500 meter pace, don't worry about it. It's just about going as fast as you can for that 30 seconds. Right, have a quick drink, keep on moving up and down the rail, and I'll quickly go over one more time what it is we're doing today. So today then we're doing a 30-second sprint followed by 19.5 minutes at 18 strokes per minute. Now you can either just program in a 20-minute row into your monitor, or you can go for the 30 seconds and 19.5 as the intervals. We might end up a couple of seconds out of sync with that change between the 30 and 19.5, but I wouldn't worry about it. Now that 30-second sprint is going to be at your 500 meter pace and stroke rate. And then you're going to go straight into 18 strokes a minute at kind of 2k plus 20 to 22. And from a heart rate point of view, math-at-home would be 180 minus your age, or between 65 and 75% of your max HR, your maximum heart rate. Now, what that probably means for me is that I'll end up down probably about 2k plus 24 in order to keep at my 135 heart rate, but it's up to you how you want to do this, okay? Now, the one thing I'd say is that if you don't have a 500 meter test tomorrow and you don't intend to either do the option of the 8 times 2 minutes that I'll put up as well, then instead of stopping when I stop this to do my normal wiffle waffle, just continue rowing at 18 strokes a minute while I do my sign off, and that'll give you like an extra 4 minutes or so at the end of the row to make this round about a 25-minute session for you. Okay, but then please don't skip session 5. What's the point of doing all this? What have I just said? I've given you an out. Oh no. Anyway, right, so let's get ourselves ready. So it's a 30-second sprint at 500 meter pace. So this is what you're aiming for as your start in session 5 when you're doing your 500 meter test, okay? Please make sure that you are at least warm and not a bit stiff and likely to get injured on this 30-second sprint. Something just flown in my eye. I'm not stopping, right. Even if I'm blind as I go through all this, I can't see. Oh, my eyes, man. Right, okay, let's concentrate. You ready? In 3, 2, 1, go. Get up to your 500-meter pace, or better if you can. Here's hoping I can hold 1:29 tomorrow. I doubt it, but it's nice to see it on the screen right now. 3, come on, 3 seconds. And there we go. 18 strokes a minute. Woo. But my heart rate's already at 136. 140. 142. 143. Which is fun, I'm just counting it, you know. But hopefully we all need this moment to recover from that 30-second effort. Let's see how high I end up. 145. There's a proof of cardiac drift, if ever saw it. Okay, we're going back down again. So it took about a minute for my heart rate to stop increasing and to start working its way down. All the time I was at around about 2k plus 25. Ooh. Well, I hope you got on okay with that 30-second charge at the top of this rope. Gotta say, I was quite pleased to see 129s on my monitor for most of that. Can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to hold 129s tomorrow in the 500-meter race for the Scottish Championships, but I'm at least encouraged. The danger, and this is what you need to try and guard yourself against for every distance, is, in my instance, I'm looking to be rowing tomorrow's race at about 1.5 minutes. So 3 times as long as I just did then. And my mind has already started to think about how intense that felt just then, and will I be able to hold that for an extra minute during the race. So I'm not even at the starting line, I'm not even on the right day, and already the part of your brain that wants to protect you against injury and all that kind of stuff, the fear side, has already stuck his hand in the air. Now, there's a guy, Tom Foxley, I think, It's the Mindset RX guy. So hunt out Mindset RX. If what I'm about to say makes you want to, basically. But I was doing a thing with him, and what he said was basically all of these voices you have in your head, not like worrying ones, not ones you actually need to go see someone about it, but the negative voices, that kind of niggle you have that says, are you sure about this? What Tom says is give them all a character, give them a name, even draw a picture of what they look like. So I've got negative Nigel, and he's the one that keeps on popping up and tries to tell me that I'm not strong enough, I won't be able to complete, all that kind of stuff. So every time I hear that voice, I just imagine negative Nigel, and I have a clear picture of what it looks like, but I'm not going to share it with you because the Nigel I picture is quite a well-known Nigel. But anyway, every time I hear these voices, I picture his face, and I just picture kind of like, remember the end of Die Hard 2? No, Die Hard, not Die Hard 2. When Holly sees the news reporter man, and she goes up to him and just boom, punches him. That's what I picture. Every time I hear this negative voice, I just think about punching negative Nigel in the face and saying, shut up. The brain is a wonderful thing. On the one hand, visualizing things like pushing the machine away from you with your feet. So really push it out of the room. Don't just think about it. So I've got a wall in front of me here, and I'm going to try and push the machine through the wall. So push, really focus on the front of it. Push and try and get it away from you. And you will go faster because your brain is focusing on that pushing motion. But as useful as it is to tap into things like that, your brain is also sometimes a booby trap where it wants to protect you, like literally from like a caveman point of view. It's worried about intensity and putting you in danger and all that kind of stuff. So that's why you get various hormones and chemicals racing through your body pre-race. It's like a fight or flight thing, because your body's getting ready for effectively a fight. But then that little voice also says, but should you run away? So you get, on the one hand, the chemicals setting you up for a fast race, but then your brain also tries to derail you. So you just have to learn how to control that. And that's what I was spending my time with Tom from Mindset RX doing. He mostly works with CrossFit athletes, but his protocols are just as applicable to rowing, especially because rowing is such a big part of CrossFit. It makes sense that he knows what I'm going through from an intensity point of view. Anyway, So what I have to do is between now and tomorrow afternoon as well, that'll be fun for trying to make weight. I just have to make sure that every time negative Nigel rears his little punchable face, I make sure and bat him away. Right, so we're coming up for 10 minutes gone in this 18 strokes a minute portion. So the point of this today is just that the speed at the front was just to make sure that your tanks have been shaken, stirred, whatever you want to call it, ready for the speed work that you'll have to do in the 500 meter test. But you don't want to exhaust yourself. So that's why it was only a drop in the ocean. And now we're back to the bottom tier fuel refinery engine building session, which will now kind of get you all ready, basically with a brimming full tank of supercharged rocket fuel ready for the race. So that's why it's a blue flame when you surge into the machine, because it's all supercharged rocket fuel. None of this normal yellow flame petrol nonsense. Here at RowAlong, we're all about supercharged rocket fuel and blue flames. Why did my heart rate creep up? Hang on, let's back off a bit. Probably right about the point I was talking about supercharged rocket fuel. But remember, no matter what happens with your test tomorrow, whether you manage to go faster than the initial test we did at the beginning of this or not, what you have to take from it is how you feel. Because we're only 3 weeks into this plan, and it's a big ask to go a lot faster, depending on how fast you were in the first place, I suppose. It's kind of like, in fact, I was explaining this on the YouTube comments just yesterday, that improving your pace is a bit like a golf handicap, where if you've got the lowest handicap, what's that, 25? Don't really do golf. Let's say it's 25. As you practice, the effort and skill that it requires to get into handicap 24, then 23, 22 is relatively easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's really just practice and focus should get you there. But the higher you get through the numbers, maybe once you get to like handicap of 10, the amount of improvement you need to make in order to get to handicap of 9 is then exponentially a lot larger. And it's the same with rowing. Say for a 2K, if you are completely new to rowing, you sit down and you row 2,000 meters in 12 minutes. That's 3 minutes per 500 meters. What you'll find is that quite quickly, you'll shave a lot of time off that. First off, by addressing technique issues. So sometimes you don't have to get any fitter, you just have to think about this forward lean at the front into a back lean, like driving off with straight arms, making sure to concentrate on the leg push rather than it being a pulling motion, and also trying to fix your posture, being on your sit bones at the front and rocking over your hips back onto them again. Just thinking about those key bits and not all the other tweaks, you could probably the very next day take a good 20 seconds off just by thinking of driving from the legs and your body positions. Then you do a few more sessions and you get stronger. That means your muscles are able to put in more power. So you could shave maybe another 20 seconds off. Then another few sessions, your fitness is increased. So you sit down and do a 2K and you're able to hold your pace for longer. And then maybe a combination of those three things now puts you down at 11 minutes. And then as you keep practicing, keep getting fitter, keep getting stronger, it's really easy to see the time tumble away from you. And I'm not being facetious here. It really is. If you put in the effort to get fitter and stronger, you will get faster. But it takes dedication and consistency and focus to get there. But anyway, so that continues for a while, but then you get to the 8-minute mark and you start to realize that it takes quite a lot more work now. Now that you've shaved 4 minutes off your 2K time, you're having to work a lot harder, but you can still manage it. I think anybody with the right dedication can get to a certain ballpark. I think any male rower can get under 7 minutes if you put in the right amount of dedication and focus. And I'd say any female rower isn't going to be too far off, but I'd put in a soft figure of like 7:15, 7:20. I believe you could manage if you put in the work. But the work you have to put in between an 8-minute 2K and a 7-minute 2K is big. Even more so to get from a 7-minute to a 6.5. I've not managed to break that yet. Not that I'm saying you know what I'm saying. I put in lots of work. You know, my fastest ever was 6:37. And then it was the overtraining from that burnt me out a bit. Anyway, so back to the 500 meters. What I'm saying is that you've only been training for the 500 meters for 3 weeks. And it might be a completely different shift in how you train because of these heart rate sessions and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if you weren't that far off your original test. I mean, I'm hoping I can increase it by 2 seconds, but who knows? But the important thing is that I'll feel stronger and have a lot more energy for it when I do it tomorrow. Whereas I think the test at the beginning of all this, I was very much fly and die. from the start, whereas I'll be flying die towards the end tomorrow, but not right from the start. And that's the important part. And then we've got 2 more weeks to consolidate what we've learned. Alrighty, 2 more strokes. 1 more stroke. So, if you're not intending to do a tough test tomorrow, there's a lot of T's. Continue rowing at 18 strokes a minute while I go through my outro, and we'll still do a cool down, so we'll join you in a sec. But just keep going and you'll be fine. Where's my water? Oh, I have lost my water. There is no water. Oh well, then once I get into our 2-minute cool down after all that. Fail to prepare, prepare to fail. Right, so 2-minute cool down. Come on. In 3, 2, 1, go. So just hold 18 strokes a minute again. 2k plus 30 pace, just enough to engage your legs and things. To be honest, having done that 19.5 minutes at 18, you probably don't need a cool down, but I think it's the habit, getting into the habit of always cooling down for at least 2 minutes is extremely important, because there's times you know you have to cool down. And if you've got into the bad habit of just finishing and falling onto the floor and then not actually having a cool down, that's when you start to get muscle twinges and things, because they're all knotted up and tight after a hard session. So even if you're down at 2k plus like 40 or something, just make sure and keep moving for these 2 minutes. So anyway, bit of a different session today, bit of a different level of chat for me. I hope it wasn't too distracting. Hopefully it kept you kind of engaged for the 19 minutes. And then hopefully everything we've done on the machine today and everything that I've talked about today in terms of mental preparedness and expectations and stuff means that anyone, including me, who's going to attack a 500 meter time trial tomorrow, be it in a race or not, or session 5, doesn't have to be tomorrow. Hopefully we're all going to go into it and spend those 500 meters putting in maximum effort, no matter what the outcome is. There you go, that's my 2 minutes done. So even if I start off and I have a session that was similar to what week 3 session 1 was like, where my body was like, can we not just be back in bed please? I'm not going to stop halfway. I'm going to continue and hope I speed up, take it as a learning option, all that kind of stuff. And it's the same with how you should do it tomorrow on your test, is no matter how fast you're going, hopefully you'll go faster than your initial test. I'm kind of hoping everybody will. As much as I'm talking it down saying, if you don't worry about it, I'm kind of hoping even tomorrow, if I can shave a couple of tenths off my 500 meter time, I will be happy. So let's just see what that happens. And I'll put up the video of me doing it. And if everyone in the comments can let me know how you got on, then we'll all be in this together. Just give me what you were before, what you are afterwards. And remember, you can do that on the YouTube channel. You can do that on the podcast when it arrives on the podcasts, but I'll be probably a couple of months away before this 500 meter plan ends up on the podcasts. And it can also be on the Facebook group. So that's your 3 ways of kind of making the comments. So make sure and go on and subscribe and click the bells and comment and click join and whatever. And make sure for the Facebook thing, make sure and join the RowAlong Facebook group rather than just the RowAlong page, because the group's where we all chatter and talk and stuff, and yeah. And hey man, it's a social greatness, but yeah, just keep in touch, really. I'm doing this for you, man. Or girl. Hey girl. It's Friday. I get spaghetti tonight. I'm quite happy. So, hashtag for today. Hashtag let's do this. Yeah? Yeah, let's do this. I know there's meant to be an apostrophe in there, but don't worry about it. So just let's do this. So let's do this. Or you got this. One or the other. Just hey. Just as long as it's not MC Hammer, can't touch this, then we're fine. Right. I'm obviously delirious from my spaghetti, so I'm going to go finish off my day's work, edit this video together, upload it, and then I'll be prepared for my race tomorrow, and I hope you all do well. Everybody stay safe, be well, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.